Open up your brown book, baby. It's for you, it's for us. The fantasies, no one can judge us, no one can judge us. This is for us. Open up your brown book, baby. It's for you.
We are back. Please welcome for the first time here the Brown Book Series, science fiction and fantasy romance author Miss Hailey Turner. Hey, Hailey.
Hello, thank you for having me.
How are you, darlings? Besides, you over there with those your cats, honey. I see the stands in the back. I love it.
Yes, they are very spoiled. As you can see, the curtains are up for their bird TV.
That bird TV. So
I have trees outside the windows, and a lot of birds will come and sit. So my cats get like really into it.
Yo, that's hot. I like it. So, oh man, I like that. That's hot. Did you have to like build something for that, or
No, it's trees on the city street. So I'm like free entertainment for the cats.
that is hot? It's like a whole movie, yo.
Yes,
It's like,
they
look like the dog movie everybody be looking at. It needs to be one for cats. You should do like a video of them.
I do sometimes on my Instagram. I'll post them when they're doing something funny or just looking ridiculous.
Oh, you might have to go over there, honey. Check out. How many cats do you have?
I have two. You can see Toothless is actually on this side. He's sleeping. The other one is on my feet right now.
You named him Toothless?
Yes, he looks like the dragon from the movie How to Train Your Dragon.
Is he missing?
No, but he's all black with the really big yellow eyes. So
oh my God. I absolutely love that. Now, Hailey, tell us a little bit about yourself. Like, what is it like in a day in the life of Miss Hailey Turner?
A day in the life of Miss Hailey Turner is run by coffee. That's gonna, make me be able to do everything I need to do. I usually sprint with some writing friends in the morning, and then I go to my day job, and then I come back and I do more writing and spoil my cats. Sometimes I go out with some friends, but generally it's a lot of work. I wish it was more fun, but that's generally what I do.
Okay, I love that. What part of the country are you residing?
I live in San Francisco, California. So,
wow.
West Coast.
Funny San Francisco. I had the weather there. It's just awesome right now.
It's very foggy and it's very overcast, so it's nice. But yes.
Okay, that's what it is here. I'm like, yo, it's freaking like, I don't know how many degrees, but it's just overcast, cloudy. It's just, but it's a good book weather.
Yes, it is. I like it when it's nice and cool and not hot, or super, super sunny, because San Francisco doesn't really have air conditioning sometimes, so it gets really warm, which makes it hard sometimes. I know. It's all these old Victorian buildings.
Oh my God. But they're beautiful though. I love it there.
They are.
They are beautiful. Now, Hailey, so science fiction and fantasy romance.
Yes.
Girl, why? And I asked why. Fantasy romance sometimes can be a little difficult to write. I feel even just I'm like, yo, it's so many. You got to make it seem not too. What's the word I'm looking for?
Overwhelming.
Huh?
Overwhelming.
Yes, that's perfect. See, you're a writer. I knew you were getting it. Not too overwhelming and not too cliche, or you know what I'm saying. But you write it so wonderfully, though.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, how she do that? She got different brains going, but she think differently about all that, and it looks good. I mean, you write's good. It flows. One of my favorite series of yours is it Spellbound? Soulbound.
Soulbound.
Yes. I like Soulbound.
Fantasy one.
Yes, so girl, how did you get into this genre right here, science fiction and fantasy romance, and how hard is that for you to write? Because that ain't just no regular wake up and kiss somebody, honey, and roll over. That's like some real.
I grew up reading science fiction and fantasy. So like when I was a kid and in elementary school and middle school, those were the books that I'd pull out from the library and borrow. So
what's your favorite book?
As a kid, Tamara Pierce. Her Lioness Quartet. That's like one that I remember checking out from middle school. That stayed with me for so many years.
Okay.
And that's more of like high fantasy, and it's mid grade, but it's one of my favorites from when I was a kid. But yeah, I grew up reading it, and then I was like, well, I don't kind of see the books that I want to read on the shelf, so let me just try writing it. So I delved into science fiction and fantasy that way, and never looked back.
I love it because I was like, like I said, when I see the science fiction and the fantasy romance, I'm like, okay, I hope this don't be, nothing too overwhelming to where it's not good. But I love it because not only do we get the fantasy of it and the science fiction, your development of characters are just spot
Thank
on.
you. I feel that it's science fiction and fantasy. For readers, you get the readers who, if that's their bread and butter, that's what they're going to read and that's what they're going to love. And then if you've got readers who maybe have not read it yet before or been introduced to the genre, I feel it's nice to be able to have a series or a book where you have the world building, but you make it accessible for all levels of readers. So like with urban fantasy or paranormal romance, where you have the magic in the real world, it makes it easier for somebody who, say, is coming from contemporary romance, who's like, okay, it's Earth, it's New York City, it's, any of the big cities that you're comfortable with and know from any of your other books that you've read, but it's just got magic and werewolves and vampires this time. And I feel a lot of people are familiar with those. So I think it's a little bit easier to digest, even if they haven't, it might not be a genre that they're ones that's their first choice to read.
Right. I love looking at it on television, but like reading sometimes I'm like, but then honey, then I read yours. I like that's why I love this show because I get introduced to new authors and I just get hooked. I be binge reading.
I have friends who are like, I'll binge read or I'll binge like watch shows on Netflix. And I'm like, okay, give me a weekend where I can binge read some books.
I liked it, honey. Old Soulbound. I was like, ooh, I like this. This is cute. So tell us a little bit about you and your publishing world. Are you traditionally published or you're an indie author?
I am right now completely indie author.
So you were traditionally published. You would be considered a hybrid author.
I haven't been under this name traditionally published.
Okay.
So it's my writing journey started, actually I calculated like 6 years ago when I dived into it. So it's been a really fun journey. I've met like some incredible writers and they've become really good friends, which I think is the best part of it because writing can be so solitary sometimes. It's like you and your computer. And that's it. So when I sprint with my writing friends in the mornings or evenings, it's on Zoom, so I can see somebody else's face and we're just all typing and we're obviously not talking to each other, but it's nice to have somebody else in the room. And I didn't have that before I started indie publishing because it was just, me and my computer. I didn't have any other writing friends or writers who were in the business. So getting into indie publishing was a really nice way to make like some really good friends.
That's what's up, and which is a great thing because a lot of authors are introverts.
Oh yes, I'm such an introvert.
but I'm talking about to the point that they don't even want to even be with writer friends or anything. They just want to be at home with their computer and that's it. That's all. But at least you're like, okay, listen, you find camaraderie and just the kinship in the writing world, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, writers we like to read, we like to write, and if we can't be in the same room ignoring each other writing, we can be in different areas of the country ignoring each other writing on Zoom. So
I absolutely love it. So 6 years ago, what happened that you was like, you know what? Fuck it. I'm going to publish my book. I'm going to put it on here. I'm going to hit send and people are going to love it.
I was going to be working on Soulbound. So Soulbound, I had book one ready, but I wasn't ready to have my book of the heart, which is that series, be my experiment into self-publishing. Yeah. So I really love comics and Marvel and X-Men, which is how I built out of the my Metahuman Files series, which is the sci-fi romance one, and that's set on like near Earth with people who are like X-Men teams or Avengers teams with mutant powers type of stuff, and I kind of use that as like a testing series to see if this was a career style that I wanted to continue and do and see how it all went. And if I made any mistakes or missteps, with that series, it would impact the book of my heart.
I got it there. Girl, because And so, like I said, your books, they're very interesting. And when I read that you started 6 years ago, I was like, this doesn't read like a person who just started writing 6 years ago.
Oh no, I've been writing since I was a kid. I've probably written millions of words of stories that will never see the light of day, to just kind of hone my craft. But the Soulbound series I've rewritten many times and revised over the years, because that's been with me for years and years and years. And I wasn't at the writing stage to be able to do the story justice until within the last like 4 or 5 years. So, but I'm happy with how it turned out. I'm really happy with how it turned out.
I love it. I'm happy with how it turned out too, girl. I was like, oh, this is cute, honey. So how long does it take you to write a book?
It depends. I'm a slow writer because I have a day job, and so I'm writing in the mornings and in the evenings and on the weekends. And my books are fairly long and a little plotty in terms of world building. So I would say probably from when I'm first starting the first draft to when it's actually published, it can be anywhere between, I'd say like 7 to 9 months or thereabouts, possibly a little bit longer.
That's from beginning to the end, and you still have to get it to an editor. So since you're indie, you have your own editor or freelance editor? Okay.
Yes. So I do the drafts. It goes to beta, it goes to editor, it goes to proofers, and then it goes to my PR team to help me get everything all worked up for the release, and then it gets released. So it's a little bit long, but it works for me. I've found a nice balance between my day job and writing and what happens with the writing, because I'm kind of a control freak, so I don't like to delegate very much.
You want to get done right. That's all. Not to saying that people don't, but sometimes your vision can get a little lost in translation.
I know I have to let it go sometimes. So it's like, that's my team.
It's still your baby. I tell everybody, like, you're an artist. You're sensitive about your shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
So I get that. I totally get that. And all right. So when you got your first review, what was your reaction?
I'm actually fairly thick-skinned in that sense. Okay. I am of the opinion that like reviews are for readers. They're not necessarily for writers, because the book is already out there. We can't really take it back. It's in the wild. It's in other people's hands, and everybody's going to have a different reading experience. They may like it, they may love it, it may not be for them. And I think all of those opinions and reviews are valid, because the book either spoke to you or didn't, and there's no wrong way to read. So
I like it.
I remember my first review because it's been so long, whether it was good or bad. But I do know that I typically do read the reviews for the first few days around release, just to get an idea of like how it's being received. And then I'm off working on the next book.
I totally love it. That's what's up. Girl. Yeah. How many books have you published?
17, I think. I'm terrible at math. This is why I was an English major.
No, you've been getting down though. For 6 years, 17 books.
I've slowed down considerably. I've found a nice balance of like maybe 1 or 2 books a year, just to give myself some break time and around everything. So I think when I was first starting out, I really wanted to build my readership and build networking within the community. So I pounded out like 4 books in 1 year, and that was really tiring. I was like, that's a pace that I can't keep up. I know that there are some people who thrive on like the fast releases, and they've got so many stories in their head that just want to get out. And I have that. I'm really slow about getting it out.
Because you reading your books, you're into the development of the characters, and you have your series is like, okay, they are real series. I mean, to where it's like, I know your Captain Callahan.
Oh, Jamie Callahan.
James, yeah, it's like that whole series is like him. They're on the boat. It's like, it's like you're looking at a movie, like a continuously weekly series. Like it's crazy.
It's for the series, like growing up when I was reading science fiction and fantasy, those were the series where it's the overarching plot and you follow the same characters throughout all the books.
Yes.
That's what I grew up with. And I was like, oh, this is how I should write it. And so when I first got into writing for the LGBTQ romance, I learned that series are treated slightly differently in the indie world, where you've got, you know, the different couples in each book, but it's the same series. And as a kid, when I wasn't reading romance, it was like that wasn't the type of series that I saw in the science fiction and fantasy. So I went slightly different on how I structured my series. But you know, both ways are totally fun for all of it.
Totally fun.
It's like what works for the story, what works for the plot, what works for the characters. Is it going to be an overarching theme with you're following the same characters, or are you going to do different books with different characters? It's, you know, what is your muse deciding?
That makes sense. It was just different for me. I was just like, oh, this is different, because, you know, like you said, the other series is like, okay, you may see like some of the characters in it, but it's like, yo, you have two new characters, you know, everything is different. Where yours is like, I love it. It's like you know, it's the overall thing, as you said before. So that was kind of different.
Yeah, I like making my characters go through hell to get their happily ever after, because I'm a mean author. I find that fun to just kind of give them more hurdles to get over.
No, listen, I wasn't gonna say it. This your first time here, which, you know, my people, producers like, Shay, take it nice on Miss Hailey. You know, girl, it takes a couple. You have to. Yeah, I was just like that. She has to write the way she writes, because it takes them a minute to get to where they're supposed to be.
Yes. It's a long road to get there, but they'll get there eventually.
Yeah, they'll get there eventually. Maybe look 2 books later, but they might they will definitely get there. And speaking of books, Hailey, it brings us to the first segment here, the Brown Book series, called Name That Book, where we take the characters or a synopsis or something related to one of your books, and you have to name that book.
Oh gosh.
It's not gonna be hard. It's not gonna be hard at all. You're
gonna think it'd be terribly if I like totally fail this.
It's okay. You would, please. I have authors who totally fail, and they hit me up later on and be like, I still don't know who that person was. I'd be like, call your ghostwriter, bitch. I don't know. Your name is on it, so it's crazy. All right, first up, name that book. I love this book too. I'm trading you in for a new partner after this job. Sick of you.
Oh God. Is this Patrick?
I'm gonna give you a hint. It's from one of your collection, your short story collection.
Is it? Am I doing the book
the
title?
Name of the book. Yeah.
Okay.
The name of the book.
I am so stumped on this. This is terrible.
It's okay. We'll give you the first one.
Oh, okay. So, In the Shadows?
Well, no, it's the superhero and the NSA agent.
Oh.
Yes.
That one. Oh, I wrote that for a charity collection. That's why it's not pinging in my head.
Yes, but it was so good. I was like, she wrote this is a good ass book. And that's how you redid it and put it in a different collection. I'm like, okay, this is cute. Love it.
Yeah, that collection was all short stories that I wrote for Heart to Heart charity anthology.
Yeah. Girl,
it was a short story.
It was, but it was very good. I was like, shit. Like I'm like, she need to write a whole book about this one. This was good. I like the whole little NSA agents, honey. All of it was the little NSA agents. Oh, this is cute. All right, name that book. Make them stop. The words came out broken in a voice worn raw from endless screaming.
Oh, I don't know this one. Is this going to be... I'm going to go with Soulbound. Oh, yeah, I'm 0 for 0 right now.
In the ruins. But it's okay. You're going to make up for it. I'm telling you, you're going to do good. You're going to make up.
I was like, in my defense, I think that was 6 years ago that I wrote it.
Listen, you only got 17 books. Some authors I taught, they're like, I got 150 books. I'm like, yeah. Well, you'll be just fine. All right. Name that book. Agent Oliver Archer was the main character in the book.
Was that one in the in the Shadows?
Nope, you just said it.
In the Ruins?
No.
Oh, in the Solace. I have too many.
It's usually in the Solace.
Okay, maybe half a point.
Half a point. So we're going with this thing, okay? All right. Next up, name this book. This one could be good. You should. This one you like this one. Weighed down by scandal, Captain James Callahan just must choose between saving his family's reputation and his father's political aspirations, or taking down the enemy once and for all.
I'm gonna go with In the Requiem.
You say that's yes, girl.
I got 1 full point.
You did good. That sounds like honey. Think about the scandal, girl. Think about the scandal. All right, next up. You're gonna get this one too. Name that book. Alexa has come a long way since being turned into a metahuman, and all he wants to do is marry the man he loves.
Is that not Out of the Ashes? Out of the Ashes? No.
Now, Hailey, put your ghostwriter on the phone now. You gotta get the heart. Huh?
Is it Fire in the Heart?
It's Fire in the Heart.
I got it.
Yes, girl, Fire in the Heart. She's like, yeah.
You're trying to remember my titles and I'm drawing a complete blank.
I understand that. If I had wrote more than 2 books, I'd be like, I don't know what's in it. They'd be like, Shay, you only got 2. My bad. I totally get that. Okay, so tell us a little bit about this whole series. From the Ruins, the Solace. Tell us about that series.
That's like my love letter comics, the Metahuman Files one. That's the sci-fi romance one. I was really big into comics as a kid, and I was really big into X-Men and Avengers, and I collected them. And so when Marvel started doing like all of their movies, I was absolutely in love. And so for that one, when I was writing it, I was drawing from just the idea of comics and mutants and powers. And if you had a superhero team, how really would the government deal with it? And it just kind of expanded from there.
I absolutely love it. So why did you take on the name like In the Ruins, In the Solace, In the like? Why those names?
Honestly, I don't remember at this point. But I know that like if I'm starting a series, I can't write the first book unless I have a series and I have all the titles and I know what's going to be happening. So when I was creating the series, I know I created the titles alongside with it in the outline. And I think I was just going for a pattern, kind of like in fantasy where you have a blank of blank and blank.
Yeah.
It was sort of like that with this one, where I wanted to keep a theme with the titles of how they were worded, I guess.
Okay, I get it. So you've written 17 books. Which one is your favorite?
Probably A Fairy of Bones and Gold.
Why is that?
That's the book of my heart that I've been writing for years and rewriting and trying to get like what I feel was where it needed to be. And Patrick has lived in my head as a character for so long that when I finally got to write his story, it finally flowed how I thought it should. So that's my favorite one. Also, it's got a lot of mythology and I love mythology.
Okay, look at you. I absolutely love it, honey. Hailey, author's moments. What's your most urgent priority for the rest of the year, both in the literary world and in your personal life?
Personal life would be have a vacation. I miss traveling. I'm actually, I do get one, but it's kind of a work one because I'm going to Rare Edinburgh at the end of the month. So that's going to be super exciting. Cool. But a regular vacation to just relax and not do any writing and not do any day job stuff, that would be really nice. For the personal or for the writing one, probably just keep honing my craft because I feel like as a writer you can keep learning, and I want to broaden my readership some more. So I want to bring in new readers to have them find my books.
Okay, that's what's up. All right, author's moments. In being a novelist, what did you learn a little too late?
The flow of dialogue with audiobooks. I know that's sort of technical, but when I started doing audiobooks I feel that when you listen to them, when you have the dialogue actions and those sorts of tags as you're writing, you don't really think about it as you're reading, but I think maybe you hear it a little more in audiobooks. So I've tried to adjust how I do dialogue a little bit in terms of actions to help make the audiobooks a little bit more engaging, I guess I should say. So there's not any extraneous words. Although I write really long books, so maybe that's not helpful.
A mess. I love it. All right, author's moment. Let's see here. If you could sit down with one fictional character of yours, who would it be?
Probably Sage in my Soulbound series.
Why Sage?
She's got like a little bit of me in there in terms of like I made her a lawyer. I'm not a lawyer, but I do work in the legal field. So I think it would be fun to just like hang out with her and eat lots of really yummy food because I like food. I'm like a foodie. I love food. It's like this is my travel to eat. But I think it would have fun to hang out with her in that world because then I don't have to be around all the craziness from the other characters because she's kind of like the one who gets in charge and gets them out of trouble, so she's not as dramatic.
Okay, I love it. Go on, girl. Author's moments. If you could sit down with your 15-year-old self, what would you tell her?
I'd say like everything's going to turn out really well. Like, you know, work hard, keep going forward through everything that's going to, you know, come up, but it's going to turn out well. I'm happy where I am with my writing and the opportunities that are coming, you know, still coming my way and getting to learn and grow. It's, you know, I don't have any regrets there. So
I love it. That's what's up. Okay, author's moments. What would your pen name be?
This is actually my pen name.
That's crazy. You look like a Hailey Turner though.
Thank you. Well, okay. The funny thing behind it is that Hailey would have been my name, except my dad lost the coin toss. So my mom got to name me my legal name, and Turner was her maiden name. So that's how I got it. It's kind of
oh. So your dad is like, okay, at least I get a Hailey sometime.
So yeah, my name was decided by a coin toss, which everybody kind of finds hilarious.
That is hilarious. But I mean, what better way to, resolve an argument?
Yeah.
Like heads or tails. I love it. Let's see, Hailey, what are you bored of right now?
What am I bored of right now? This is going to sound really terrible, but when I want to sit down and watch something on TV, I'm bored of commercials.
Listen.
Because sometimes I just want to veg out after a really long day and I just want to watch the show without it. And if it's live TV, I have commercials. Because I have a hard time being able to binge TV shows. I actually have to have a solid weekend in order to do that. So I don't wander off and lose attention for it.
Right.
But I think that's, I know it's super weird, but
no, don't about like commercials. That's why I love when I can be like, okay,
medication or something right now.
I'd be like, yo, what, is it on Netflix? Is it on something else where I can just sit here and just stroll through it? All right, let's see here. Author's moments. If you could master any instrument on earth, what would it be?
Violin. I used to play it when I was in kindergarten, not kindergarten, but elementary school. I've never touched it since, but I like that. I like that instrument.
Okay. You should go buy your violin, girl.
And then my cats would hate me.
Oh, yeah. Poor thing. Oh, they might love it. You never know.
Never know until I'm murdered in my sleep by them.
Yeah, that would be like what? I'd be like, y'all, she said they was gonna do it to her. Oh my God. Let's see. All right. Author's moments. What's the proudest moment from the last past 12 months for you?
Finishing Soulbound. The seventh book came out last fall. And it was like a bittersweet but pride moment of I finally finished the story that I set out to write after so many years. And I felt that I ended it how I wanted to end it and what the story deserved to be ended. So I think that's I'm really, really happy and prideful about that. I did good by the series. So.
No, that's what's up. Because Soulbound, that's your baby, right? That's
my baby story. That's my baby series.
Oh my God. Tell us a little bit about Soulbound. You told us about the solace in the ruins and Captain and all them good boys. Tell us a little bit about Soulbound.
Soulbound is urban fantasy with romance. It's queer. It's got a lot of action. It's got a ton of mythology. There's lots of references to gods and urban myths. I feel it's very engaging. It goes through all different cities, and it's basically trying to stop the end of the world and finding love along the way.
Yeah, they found a lot of love along the way, which is
a lot of found family, and I think that shows really well in Soulbound. So
I love it. Now, you write a lot of your characters are LGBTQ friendly, which is good. So, why did you decide to write in this genre?
Growing up in the Bay Area, I was exposed to a lot of that culture, and growing up just in a big city and in a melting pot, whereas there's a whole bunch of people who don't look like me,
Right.
is what I wanted to bring to my stories. I always try to put diverse characters, whether nationality, background, or sexual orientation, into the books, because that's how I grew up living. That's my world, and I want to have that world in there. So I always try and make sure that there's a good breadth of representation in the books.
Okay, well done. You did a great job with it.
Thank you.
Yeah, you did a great job with it. That's cool. All right, Miss Hailey. She'll be here writing about all these fine men, honey. I was here for all of it. Office moments. If money was no object, where would you live?
London. I like London.
Okay. You've been there plenty of times, or once or twice?
I've been there probably like half a dozen times. I like going and exploring the city and the museums, and it's a nice like hub to be able to get to other areas of Europe and stuff over there. So I like traveling and I like exploring. So that's what I would want to do.
Okay, yeah, I heard you like traveling, honey. You and the cats. Y'all be traveling.
The cats stay here. If I tried to travel with them, they would not love me ever again.
Poor thing. I love it. I absolutely love it. Hailey, what is one thing that you are amazingly good at?
What am I amazingly good at? I would say writing. I'm pretty good at writing. We're gonna go with that.
So nothing else but just writing. You think writing, that's my shit. That's
writing,
it.
and let's see. If I wasn't working in the legal field, I'd probably be like a really good executive assistant, because I like other people to make the decisions, but like let me handle like taking care of all of that. I don't know. I like being in control. Let's put it that way.
I got you. Like, okay, I know the task. Let's go.
Yes, exactly that.
I get it. That's what's up. Look at you, honey. The struggles of it all. All right, what's the one mistake you keep repeating?
Letting my stories run away from me. Sometimes they just get really long and I feel bad, and I feel like, oh, maybe it'll work, maybe it's not. So I'm trying to be more aware of my outlines.
Okay, I understand. That's what's up. So what is your latest book?
The latest book is The Prince's Poisoned Vow, and that's like a genre mashup of like steampunk inspired epic fantasy with romance in it. So I decided to make my life difficult while writing this book, throwing everything like the kitchen sink into it. But I had fun with it, and I really like how it's turned out.
I saw, and I was looking and I was like, okay, which one? Because, girl, your books are good. But it was like, okay, it looked like that one was coming out. I'm like, is that out yet? Is it coming out? Is that the last one? Where is this book?
It's the first one. It came out last week.
Exactly. It sounds like it just came out. Girl, Matt, tell us a little bit about it.
It's sort of like Game of Thrones-esque in the sense that it's got a lot of different characters who all have different political wants and desires. It's got separated siblings. It's got romance in the sense that the two sort of more main couple is between my prince and his warden, and they're not supposed to be together because wardens aren't supposed to be involved with matters of state, and yet here we are.
Wow.
So
okay, I love that too. Now, okay, so that one. it was something else I wanted. I'm getting old. It's pertaining to pertaining to that book. I was like, damn. It was just like right here. My producer Ramsey is like, write it down, Shay. I'm like, no, you supposed to wrote it down and read it to me, Rams.
So, but then you do that and then you lose the Post-it and you're like, where's the Post-it?
Exactly. It's like, where's the damn Post-it? You know, going through the changes over here. It's just totally anyway. So, okay. So that book is out now. Do you have a cover for that book already? You got it with you? Show it to me.
It's very shiny.
The Princess Poison Vow.
So
I love that's cute.
I really do like it.
Okay, she like writing about this Game of Thrones. That's what it is.
So yeah, it's a little bit. I've seen some of the reviews that I saw around release day were describing it that way. I was like, oh, that's good. I'll take that.
Don't Game of Thrones have like a spinoff or something?
It's a series by George R.R. Martin, and they turned it into the HBO show.
Oh,
okay. That's like super epic fantasy. So
yeah, I'm gonna have to go over there, girl, because I like me some old Game of Thrones, and when I started, I'm like, oh, okay, they doing something else. This is cute. I like it. Your cats are giving you your cats are like, mommy, hurry the hell up.
Mom, I want some treats.
Girl, you know you supposed to have fed them before you sat down, Hailey. You been bad mom. Bad mom. All right, let's see. Author's moments. Oh no, they already asked the one mistake you keep repeating, Ramsey. They asked her that already. Dead or alive? If you were hosting a dinner party and could invite 5 people from any era, who would it be?
Ooh, interesting. Oh. Are we talking like book characters or
no, real people? Yeah, real people, dead or alive.
One.
Yeah, none of your action hero figure people. No, they have to be human. Hailey.
I honestly don't know. Gosh. I don't know. I wouldn't like ever host a dinner party. I'm terrible at those. I would rely on my friends to do it for me. Like, you handle the guest list.
I cannot. Okay, they handle the guest list, but then who is that you're like, you know what? I wouldn't mind sitting down with somebody you admire.
I would, let's see. I would maybe do the author, like Tamara Pierce from the 80s.
Okay.
I'm really into when I was a kid, I was into space because my dad loves space. So I'd probably go Neil Armstrong. Let's see. I don't know who else. Let's see. Oh, shoot. I don't know. I'm totally stumped. I'm so sorry.
You're doing good. I tell you what, when you gotta come back to the show, and when you come back, then we'll have
my dinner host.
Your dinner host ready for you. We'll have other questions ready for you. You'll be good. Ramsey will be on point, so he won't be messing up our banners, and and you'll be good to go. Hailey, we have one last question to ask you. This has been a great interview. Thank you so much for coming on and joining us.
Me. I've had so much fun.
Thank you. Okay, so before we ask our last question, tell everybody all things Hailey Turner, where they can get your books, your website, your social media, and all that good stuff.
My website's haileyturner.com. You can get my books at Amazon. Also under KU, they're in paperback, ebook, and audiobooks. On Instagram, I'm Hailey Turner Writes, and on TikTok, I'm author Hailey Turner. I'm super new to that platform, though. I think there's only like a couple videos. And on Facebook, I'm Hailey Turner, and I have a readers group called Hailey's Hellions.
All right, for Hailey's Hellions. Girl, I'm about to go join that old group. All right, Hailey, if you were writing a book about your life, what would the title be?
Coffee or Death.
You know what? I absolutely love it. Ladies and gentlemen, please give a round of applause. Coffee or Death. That's hot. Please give a round of applause to science fiction and fantasy romance author, Miss Hailey Turner. Thank you,
Thank you
Hailey,
so much for having me. I really
Book Series presents Raw Romance Readers and Writers Experience. Save the date, October 28th and 29th, 2022. Brown Book Series presents Raw Romance Readers and Writers Experience, October 28th and 29th, 2022 at the Westin Old Town, Alexandria, featuring some of your favorite romance authors: Brenda Jackson, Beverly Jenkins, Iris Bowling, Deborah Fletcher Mello, and so much more. The Raw Experience will include book signings, meet and greet, photo ops, vendors, shopping, surprise celebrity guests, and live performances. Registration is wide open at brownbookseries.com. Save the date, October 28th and 29th, 2022. Brown Book Series presents Raw Experience.
Open up your brown book, baby. It's for you, it's for us. The fantasies, no one can judge us, no one can judge us. This is for us. Open up your brown book,